And we're back with Eirene. It's free DLC. Irene's Furnace of War.
Behold, the furnace bellows its call. The temple's flames demand a battle to the death. Terminate this war with your cleansing flame.
Now, before we start, let's just make sure that the DLC is already downloaded. And for the downside, we can only access the DLC if our save file is at the end of the story. Doesn't matter if you already done it before, like I do here. Already done it 6 times, I guess. But it has to be at the end of the story currently on the save file. So even I have to finish it again. And on semi-void form mode, which is the harder difficulty of the game, so it took me a while to reach the credits. So was it worth it? It's not bad. Oh, don't start new journey, by the way, don't. And again, make sure you already have downloaded the DLC. And if you already did, Yasis will talk to us like that.
What's up, Assis?
Ah, finally. It's great to meet you again. Please, take this.
Now, for those who speedrun the game, we just teleport after to the sewer bypass north. Yeah, this one. We just take the right here. Yeah, this one. And we just follow this path until we see this console or terminal, and we just interact with it. So yeah, the whole area next is just the DLC part. Now I'm not gonna spoil the story and stuff, so let's skip a bit. We then unlock the first mode, which is the Roguelike mode. We can select from the 3 difficulties here, and we have a semi-void form if you want a harder mode. And in roguelike fashion, we start out from scratch. Even the armor we're wearing will just be a cosmetic. And as we progress through the roguelike mode, we'll unlock more stuff like RNG spells and frame ability. There's also a few variants in maps as we progress, but Prologue Battlefield, I think there's only 2 variations so far that I have seen. And we also have upgrades to make it, more doable or easier. Now our stats would still be RNG, which is fine. In terms of Prologue Battlefield map, it reminds me of Snowbreak's Paradoxical Labyrinth. And we just go through the rooms and fight enemies. And then we get our upgrades. Although it's only like one direction for the Prologue Battlefield. One thing that they could have added is probably making the destructible objects drop some items or currency. And from time to time, we'll have an elite battle. And we do get other buffs as well, other than the stats. Now we do have some resting area. It's like a blacksmith area where we can buy stuff and upgrade our weapons. Now from time to time, there's a chance that this shadow can show up and just defeat the enemy. I only saw it from, Prologue Battlefield. And when we reach this room, that means the next area would be a boss fight, a major boss fight. So we gotta be prepared for it. Personally, I'm not that good about players, so I need light or LP stat. Then strength, and technique. If there's one. And here's the first boss fight. Now the Prologue Battle boss fight is a bit RNG. I think there's like 3 variants of the boss fight here, at least so far. Really need to keep an eye out on that guy. They need to defeat this guy first. Now the Prologue Battlefield is kind of fine, but the next part is far better than the Prologue Battlefield, so at least after you unlock it. Now let's talk about the hit level, which is my least favorite thing in this roguelike mode, because it just gives some kind of artificial urgency. And now we're in the central battlefield. Our central battlefield has a lot more map variations than the Prologue Battlefield. And it's sort of an open world or open area. I think this is where the roguelike shines for me. I kind of wish Nobreak has this kind of roguelike map. Though of course the objective is still the same, we just fight, the commanders. But in all honesty, I would want to fight the other mobs, but again we have the hit level to think about. The hit level, there's a timer on the middle left, right? So as the hit level rises, the enemy will deal way more damage. But it doesn't stop there. If it stops there, then that's fine. They'll deal way more. But in hit level 5, our HP will just reduce over time. And that's why it just gives a sense of artificial urgency, in my opinion. Although it does reset per battlefield, and there are specific stages where hit level won't increase, like the main boss fight for each battlefield and then Chaos Whips. Now this is one example of Chaos Whip. Yeah, the enemies are slightly random here. It's typically like elite or boss fight. And the hit level doesn't rise, as you can see, so it's pretty good if you want the buff but you don't want the hit level to increase. But it could be tough for early game. And the other one just suddenly attacked. I don't know if it was actually waiting for me to defeat the other one before it attacks. But yeah, that's Chaos Rift. It's not giving me the last hit. Okay. I think the buffs they give are kind of fixed, depending on the boss or elite. Now on early game, you might need to just choose specific stages to fight so that, our hit level won't reach like level 5. And technically we can just skip this boss fight since it's not, the main boss fight. But you might need to do a lot more stages to proceed to the next area. Now we'll know if we're able to proceed to the next area when that notice appears. We just need to go back to our spawn point. So yeah, it's a 2-part area. So the hit level won't go back to 1 yet. But we're technically just gonna do the same thing. Either select just a few mob stage there or include the boss fight. Just as long as, we kinda get stronger, because the next part will be a main boss fight. Which honestly, I can't show because it's a new boss. To avoid spoilers. Anyway, I'm pretty sure some stages here are RNG. I assume that's already did. Anyway. Let's skip to the boss fight to make it a bit interesting. I would say that, some of the boss fights, they're really like very fast in doing combos. And, a whole lot of sequence as well. But it is a Souls-like game, so... And there is a solution, which is that parry or counter. At least if you're good at it. Personally, I'm not good at counter or parry. I just get lucky there. And another thing is that they're good at keeping their distance as well. At least the other bosses like this one. It really moves a lot. And personally, I think it makes it, a fun boss fight for me. It is hard. I can have to repeat it a whole lot. Of course, kind of the worst part is that, remembering their mechanics. Because if we kind of lose our progress here, we need to redo it all over again. But there is like revives here. Probably maximum of 2 on the upgrade system. It looks like I already gave up on counter or parry. I just used the dodge. Or the better dodge. And I still get hits. And this boss really taunts a lot. And I guess another hard thing is when the boss kind of flies up in the air and we're locked in on the boss. The camera really moves a lot. It makes it hard to know when they're gonna strike sometimes. And the highest rarity of buffs is the red one. Now this is a different run, by the way, and I skipped the next boss fight to avoid ruining the fun. And this seems like a fun buff. It doesn't have a description, let's see. So like they just shouted something about friendship or bond and then straight up bolted out of there. Oh, you what? Is this a troll buff? But anyway, after we finish the central battlefield and the main boss fight, it's going to be the last battlefield. Sadly, it's not like, unlimited. Personally, it would be nice though if they did it like that, unlimited runs. And we just get stronger every time, until we, the enemy really just hits a whole lot hard, like one shot. And it also says there, final battlefield. And honestly, I can't show all the stages here. It's a lot of boss fights. I'll only show you the generic boss fights, so that I won't ruin your fun. I think this one is fine. Now that spell we can actually buy later on the shop, Roguelike shop. Ouch. And you can see failure there. And that's like the buff that I got a while ago. So basically they kind of attack a little bit and then they bolt out. So I kind of thought they're just gonna actually just shout something. Kinda like it though. The only sad part is that we can't buy it on the shop, sadly. And it's very RNG. It's possible that you won't even get it. I won't really mind if they just actually just shout motivation stuff and then bolt it out, if we buy it from the shop, but it is what it is. Now this one's fine as well since we did fought Beacus before. Yeah, unless you speedrun the game, then you probably haven't fought it. So yeah, the other boss fights are kind of like that, but they're kinda new. So that's why I kinda don't want to show the other boss fights. And there's a lot of mobs here. Now, I think these two are kind of fine as well. They are the roaming bladers before, but they kind of have a bit of a different moveset, I think. Kind of like that. Oh, I think this is like Spider-Man. Oh, both of them are Spider-Man, okay. Kinda like their weapons, actually. The other one actually has a gun, but, she kinda died fast here. Now, sadly, that's all I can show. But once we finish the final battlefield in any difficulty, we unlock this one. Now, this one helps us finish the higher difficulty if we're having a hard time, but we do need to farm it. And as to how we farm it, we add a little bit more difficulty to the run, as you can see here. And we only gain the currency if we finish the whole trial or the final battlefield. Now we do unlock 2 more modes, along the way. This is the Rechallenge boss. I'm pretty sure other players kinda wanted this type of mode since they just want to fight a certain boss fight. So yeah, there's no reward still. And then we have the boss rush mode, which we do get a reward, an outfit reward actually. One for Primordial and one for Ultimate. We really need to fight all those bosses and not die. Any difficulty will do. And there's kind of the resting area. As you can see, we kinda heal there. And our life queue will replenish when we're here. And seems like we can replenish the items after we fight the boss. And I forgot to switch to dodge there. So yeah, we don't have to worry a whole lot in terms of healing since we do get them later on after this. So yeah, it's now replenish again. And on to the next boss. So yeah, that's pretty much the sequence of that. It's the same for the ultimate sequence. The only difference is that the bosses there are from the roguelike mode. That's all I can say. And we do get like 2 different outfits. One from finishing Primordial and one from finishing the ultimate sequence. Now as for roguelike mode, we get like outfits per difficulty. But if you finish like a higher difficulty, then you'll get the outfits for the lower difficulty. At least if you finish the higher ones. Now, spoiler alert for the other rewards. Before I show it. Personally, I enjoy the modes, but, if you don't kind of like the modes, maybe you only play it for the rewards if you like the rewards. So that's why I'm gonna show it. Okay, I think I already given up time for those who don't want to see the rewards. Let's start with the ultimate sequence outfit and the skill. Well, the skill you already seen a while ago, since it's from the Roguelike shop. This is the reward outfit of the boss rush ultimate sequence. But you do need to finish the roguelike mode first to be able to do the ultimate sequence. So it might take a little bit. But if you want something easier to get, then this is the primordial boss rush skin reward. It is a bit of a downgrade, but yeah. Now this is the second easiest one to get after the primordial skin. We just buy this from the shop. I think the skin is fine, but I think the fur is a bit large. And we can swap skills now. And this is the skill I showed a while ago. Now this is the reward from finishing the difficulty 1 of the roguelike mode. And this is the weapon from the shop as well. So it is the lowest tier of the armor for the roguelike. Now this is the difficulty 2 reward of the roguelike mode. Doesn't look bad actually. And this is the another weapon from the reward shop, but it only gets unlocked after you defeat the last boss. It changes weapon type, which is pretty neat. And this is spear now. And then we go back to the sword. And lastly, the difficulty 3 armor. Now this one for me looks cool. So for me it was worth doing difficulty 3. And this is the last skill from the shop. I'll only obtain it after we finish the last boss. And that's about it. Unless I miss more rewards. All in all, I think it's a good free DLC. But what do you think of the free DLC of Eirene?